when you talk about contrast, just for clarity, it's like it sounds like you're conveying it in a sense that we're looking at the negatives, like the negative emotion. But when I hear contrast, my definition is like, well, you've got light and dark in there. So is it negative and positive? So one aspect, we're looking at it, we're sad because we don't have this thing, but what if we're embracing happiness? Isn't that part of contrast as well, or it's not?
Tell us more.
Well, I'm just thinking, like you've touched on expressing appreciation. That seems to be some sort of a key to realizing our desires. But what I'm thinking is, how we have sadness in terms of polarity or light and dark or contrast. Sadness and the opposite is happiness. So in that sense, is when you speak about contrast, are you suggesting more in the negative sense, like sadness being in a negative sense?
So let us clarify something. From our perspective, contrast is never negative. From your human perspective, contrast can be negative. Now, the next thing is you can use that contrast in a more positive way, even if your humanness would translate it as being negative, by incorporating positive tools. Tools such as appreciation, meditation. But many of you tend to use negative tools such as lack. So contrast itself is never negative from our place of beingness. To us, contrast, we don't actually define it as negative or positive. We see it as being valuable. It's part of your enhancement. You may call it positive from your perspective. From our perspective, it is adding value. It enhances your journey of beingness. And it depends what tool you want to use to realize the enhancement of your experience, or to shoot yourself in your foot and say, look, there's no value here in this contrast for me. This sucks. But again, we see it as a valuable experience. We don't see it as negative or positive because we don't belong to reality. We just know that this is an experience and it is the place of realizing what your desires are.
Yep.
That's how we perceive it, period. Done. Realize your desires, move on. Realize it, move on. But you don't move on, you come back.